Homelessness in America. We think sometimes that poverty is only being hungry, naked, and homeless. The poverty of being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for is the greatest poverty. We must start in our own homes to remedy this kind of poverty. Mother Teresa. Homelessness in America. Homelessness in America. This is a problem that we know about, and not a lot of people are doing anything to help this problem. Back in trimester 1, we were required to read this book called The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. It was a real interesting book about her and her family moving from town to town to find work and shelter over different years and all of her experiences. Technically, they were homeless. Today, there are 550,000 people that are homeless in the U.S. That's the same size as Bloomington, Richfield, and Minneapolis population combined. It's crazy. Jeanette Walls, the author of The Glass Castle, says that anyone could be homeless, and people that are homeless might have brought upon themselves to stay homeless, other than events of mentally disabled. Before I go any further, I would like to tell you about the background of the homelessness in America. Homelessness in America actually dated back to 1700s during the Revolutionary War. It was not a lot of people that were homeless, but the ones who were, people would call them sturdy beggars. After the Civil War in the 1800s, more people were pronounced as homeless because they lost their jobs. Either it went out of business or was destroyed in the crossfire, same as their houses. During this time, crime rates raised when more people moved to the streets. The Great Depression is when most people were homeless. 1929, the biggest stock market crashes in America. Over 2 million people were declared homeless. People lost almost everything. Even the banks lost all their money due to the people rushing in to take all their money out of the banks. And now let's get back to the connection to the book. There's a lot of homeless people in America. Like I said before, about 550,000 people. But besides the people that have some mental disorder and was in the military, people that just live on the street either made that choice or just some poor decision that ended them up on the street. You mean you own this? You mean you own land worth $1 million? I was thunderstruck. All those years in Welch with no food, no coal, no plumbing, and mom had been sitting on land worth $1 million. Walls, the Glass Castle. This is an example from the Glass Castle where Jeanette's mom, Rosemary, had owned land that was worth $1 million, and she could have sold that land to get her and her family out of poverty, but she didn't. This shows how people's poor decisions make them homeless. Another example is when Rosemary's parents were willing to give the family financial assistance, but Rosemary said no. This is another example of poor decisions made. Her mom, again, could have had a life without poverty and or homelessness, but she said no to her wealthy parents. Okay, I'm going to show you a clip from this documentary about how people live on the streets.
We didn't have anywhere to go. I mean, we ran out of money, and one day we just found ourselves sleeping in the train station. You really don't want to fall asleep there. So you have to keep your eyes open and, watch your surroundings, and it's just really hard.
I don't really look people in the eye anymore. I look away because I'm just embarrassed. I feel hurt on the inside. I don't feel like a man on the inside because I can't provide for my family, can't provide for my kids.
I have done a lot of research in the past couple of days, and I read about homelessness, a lot about homelessness. For some people, they do have some type of illness, some have financial issues, and some can't support their families, but some do stay on the streets by their own choice, just like Jeanette's parents did.